Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the work, Troy. It is an honor and a pleasure to sit with you today. Thank you
I'm
for
happy
being
to be
here.
here. Thank you so much for having me.
And now, before we start, you gave me a little disclaimer, and I would love for you to give the audience your
Yeah,
disclaimer.
y'all. I have little tiny humans, children. I have a 1 month old and I have a soon to be 3 year old who is vibrant and might be running around. You might hear him in the background. Not gonna lock him in a room for this interview and podcast. So I just want y'all to be to understand that there's a little human that you might hear running around here. That's all. May
I
his
wish we
voice
had
lift
more
you up.
dads, right? Me
I love that.
too. We should all be like that, right? Just let our
Yeah.
little humans be little humans.
In the beginning of COVID, I know we got I'm a flower, but in the beginning of COVID, when I was having a lot of virtual meetings and a lot of things going on, man, it was a big anxiety for me with that. It's like, can my kid be here? Can I, like, I have children, guys. I'm having meetings with this company. I just want, and it was good to see other kids running around on the screen. And it was like, oh, okay, this is okay. And then I have to set that boundary that going into anything, I have to make sure that I'm feeling good about it. And that was that for that. So that disclaimer, just like, it's something that it's kind of become the boundary in the thing that I set going into anything that I do.
And God bless you as a father because I would hope that my parents would also create that space for me, that I'm that important that I can do that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Of course.
This actually brings me into my very first question for you, which is tell me a little bit about your story and your childhood and what brought you to be such an amazing father
Oh
and
man.
human.
I I was born in Queens, born and
Me
raised
too.
true New Yorker. Come on now.
I was
Born and
born in
raised,
Queens. I
born and
wasn't
raised in
raised there.
Queens. Laura, we vibrating, man. We
I'm
we
like,
we
I
got, like,
feel
we
like
spoke
we're
behind the
related.
screen. I'm telling you, we just might be, man. We just might be. My cousin's cousin, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, for real, girl. So born and raised in Queens, 1982, baby. I'll be 39 in March. I mean, I'll be 40 in March. I grew up in the era of being outside. I grew up around, the era of, I'm a latchkey child. So I'm the kid that had the string around his neck with his key,
Mhm.
because his mom was working. I'm the product of strong Black women. I never met my father. I was raised by strong Black women, my mother, my grandmother, my aunts. I did have male presence in the house, my grandfather, who is my role model and my everything. Rest in peace, grandpa. But I am the product of strong Black women who raised me. And, like I said, I grew up in the era of red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, ring Olivio, hot peas and butter, Skelly, running in the street, scraping your knees, being outside till the street lights came on. And your grandfather would whistle to you to get home, because if you didn't get home, he's about to get your ass beat. I come from that generation, that era of time. And with that, it just, I think, I come from good stock. I'd like to say good people raised me to be strong, to be open, to be empathetic. I think being around so many amazing, strong women uh, gave me resilience. I've seen my mother hustle and break her back and fight for things. I've also seen her do things later in life that she kind of didn't have the time to do later on in her life, that gave me the inspiration for life, that I can kind of do anything. There's nothing under the sun that I can't do, because I've seen my mother do it. I've seen her get married in her 50s. I've seen her graduate college in her 40s. I've
Mm.
seen her rise up the ranks in her career to be this badass boss that she is for Con Edison, controlling 3 different, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan,
Mhm.
literally keeping the lights on in New York. And for me, that all of those principles that I got from my family, the resilience, the hustle, the grit, and not coming from a lot financially,
Mhm.
but boy, did we have a household full of love. And I forgot I have a dog. But love. Grew up with a lot of love around me. And I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy in that. So that kind of, that gave me the framework for the man I am now. And I'm a wellness entrepreneur, digital content creator, uh, 2-time Lululemon Legacy ambassador, you know, uh, and now I do a lot of consulting for them. Grace be to God. I am also I forgot what they call us now. What is this? They call us something. There's something that they call a facilitator. Now I'm a facilitator. So I actually do a lot of dialogue events based on just creating authentic connection for up and coming ambassadors with the company. And I got a lot out of that. So it's beautiful to have this aspect, man. And I'm a father. I'm a father, a husband, and a friend.
Hmm. I feel a immediate kinship towards you because I have this theory about people born in Queens, New York.
Yo,
All the superheroes were born in Queens, New York. Peter Parker, Spider-Man,
yes.
1982 as well.
Yeah.
But I'm so curious as to like how, when you were growing up, how was wellness introduced to you? Like, were your family members spiritual, or
Mhm. Mhm.
what did it look like for you as a kid versus now?
Definitely grew up in a spiritual household. I'd say not necessarily religious, but definitely God-fearing and faith-based. There was always that believing of a higher power. We went to church. I tried to do like the whole Bible study
Hmm.
school thing. It really wasn't my jam, especially once I got old enough to be like, nah, this isn't it for me. But wellness has always been something. I mean, my grandfather from back in the day, I told my wife this the other day, is like my grandfather had a rule. He was like, Troy, you got to drink 8 glasses of water a day, every day. My grandfather literally was just drinking water. And I mean, he got far past that, but from a very early stage, I guess, in my life, I was introduced to water as a life force, as something that, you know, knowing as an adult now how much of my body is actually made up in water, I really get the correlation. But I learned these little blueprints and hacks early on from my grandfather. He made sure that I was outside running around. I wasn't the biggest sports player, I'd say, but I was always running around. I was skateboarding. I was a sponsored skateboarder. I was aggressive inline rollerblader, all before it became really cool, or before Lupe Fiasco and Pharrell were kick pushing. Back when in the projects, Black kids really weren't skateboarding. You know what I mean? And I was getting picked on a little bit back in the day about it. And then later on in life, my friends came around and they were like, "Yo, you were innovative in something." And I was like, there was a community of us, man. It's just a small amount of us. But being outside, getting vitamin D, moving my body, it's always been important to me. I think later on in life, though, is when I really found what wellness meant to me. And I was able to lose 100 pounds and, become a trainer and help tons of people do the same thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. And also just that really authentic childhood that I feel like I fear that the newest generation is really missing. That be outside, run around, be with other children, like
Yeah.
not attached to screens. Screen time was like so
Yeah.
limited. It was like your television.
That's it. That's it.
You
I
know.
mean, well, like I guess they were like the era of like TV dinners and the American family that sat in front of their TV like for TV dinner. But like in my household, man, like again, my son's only 3, but there's limited screen time. Like we're not trying to be caveman parents. Like we have to be relevant. My son definitely knows what a phone is. He wants a YouTube page already. He sees us as creatives creating stuff, right? So he wants to be involved in that. We just did a YouTube video for him, a song called "If You Feel It in Your Body, Run to the Potty," which is like a song about if not doing it on yourself. And he thinks he's like the biggest Instagram in a YouTube sensation right now at only 3 years
Maybe.
old. He might just be, man. But yeah, I think it's really important for these kids, this generation, or the next generation, to kind of really understand the importance of being outside, man. Like I look at my nephews and I'm like, yo, you got the prettiest legs and elbows I've ever seen in my life. Like, have you ever fell? Like, have you jumped a fence before? Like, have you broken a bone? You know what I mean? Like, I have scars on my body that I can
Those
tell you
scars.
stories. I can tell you the stories of, oh, when this happened or when this happened. And like my son, thank God, like he was out, we were running at the pool. Again, he's only about to be 3, but he scraped up both knees and like it was a big deal. It was like big little, but now like that they've healed, like he gets it. And I'm like, at least like I have this kid that's outside
Mhm.
running and doing things and isn't focused on, just wanting to be behind the Xbox or the PlayStation or the blah, 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 or needs to be on like the YouTube Kids channel all day. Like wants to be outside. Like we're exploring new parks. We went to a new park today, went to the aquarium yesterday. Like we are outside all the time. And we're about to pitch a tent in my backyard. Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have a
Love the
backyard
outdoors,
because you
man.
just moved.
I did. I just closed on my first home 2 months ago, and I just decided to go crazy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I decided to go crazy. Me and my wife are we move in fear, not we move in not in faith, not fear, right? So that's how we're led, and we take risks, we take chances, and we moved 900 miles away from our friends and family when we only had 1 month left till she was going to give birth to our new son, who just got here. He's a month old, and we bought a house in Georgia. Yeah, we're on a lake in a beautiful community, and this is where we felt like God was leading us. There was a point in time when we were about to close on a house in Connecticut and stay back, towards home, but the owners had they pulled out of the house, closing 4 days before we were supposed to close. So we technically had nowhere to live. We had got rid of everything. We had nowhere to live. We had put a deposit down on my son's pre-K, like did it all. And at that moment, we were like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like, we gotta go. It's no longer serving us. This place is no longer serving us. And we out of here. And we took a risk. And it was the biggest thing we did. We were scared, but yeah, I jumped on a first class flight, and 2 days after to Atlanta, got with a realtor. We saw 6 properties before I could even check into my hotel. Like, when I say I came down here with a mission to find something for my family, my wife allowed me, thank God, the strong woman that she is, she allowed me to lead this and to spearhead this and believe that I would find us a beautiful home, because we have very similar tastes, and had her on the FaceTime videos. Look, this is the wall, this is the molding, da da da. She's like, okay, I co-signed that. I said, thank you. And then, we closed on a beautiful home, and I came down here and got the whole house together before she even moved in. Like, before they moved in, I came down here and set up the whole house. I didn't want them to have to do anything but come in here and live. So for 72 hours, I came down here and got the house together. Then I flew back and then drove them back 16 hours straight. Yeah, 16 hours straight. Resilience, man. When you want something, you want something. And when you want to do something, and again, I'm a family man. We're very tribal, the Brooks family. We're just like this, like I'd have drove 80 hours. I'd have found a way,
Yeah. So just from the 15 minutes that I've learned about you, I've heard a lot of themes, and I'm getting a sense of who you are. You've spoken about strong women in your life and just the basis of family, and being in that faith of family, also having faith in a higher power, and also taking risks. And you could have definitely looked at that situation and been like, why me? But you just decided to find a new home. And how has that helped you, these things which are tenets of spirituality and wellness, right?
Yeah.
How has that helped you facing possibly some pretty hard things with society, being a Black man, facing challenges in that way, especially with like, and I'm not Black, so I don't know what it's like to be in a Black body, but I'm sure you've been facing this your entire life. But with it being highlighted last year during BLM, how has this helped you?
Again, I'd say to be completely transparent and honest, man. Again, I'm the black rose that broke through the concrete. Resilience is in my blood.
Mhm.
I don't really do fear. I don't operate from fear. I don't downplay. I don't play small to anyone. I don't care your color, your race, your social economic status. When I come in the room, I come in the room. My energy is felt. My presence is felt. I come in and I take up space. I don't dim my light for anyone. And that's how I was raised,
Mhm.
right? So I remember when I was 16 years old and I was in West Broadway, Soho, and there was a restaurant called Cipriani. And Cipriani is a very, very, very fancy restaurant. There was a red Ferrari in front of it, drop top, I'll never forget. And I said, you know what? I could be intimidated. I was a young black boy. I went in there. I went in, sat down. Guy looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, yeah, I want to have lunch. You serving lunch? Yeah. I looked at the menu. I didn't even know what prosciutto was. I don't eat pork. I'm allergic to it. They gave me some prosciutto with melon as like an appetizer. And I ordered a filet mignon. And I was like, I don't really eat steak. How should I cook this? He told me how to eat it. I ended up sending it back. Got a burger and fries. Anyway, I just knew from an early age, again, growing up in Queens, growing up in a melting pot of people, I wouldn't say that I was naive to racism or to microaggressions or to any of the things that we go through as Black people, but it started to hit me personally. Those things started to affect me a little bit later in my life, you know, than I'd say the average Black, maybe Black child, because again, I didn't have a lot, but the family that I came from, they provided a lot of resources for me to go places and to do things. So I was always around a multitude of different people. You know, I was around a multitude of different cultures very early on. I was well traveled very early on due to different programs and resources that my mom found, so that I can have a better life. And I say that to say that, you know, during these times and everything that's been going on, I've been very frustrated. I've been very angry. I've used my platform responsibly to speak about several things, but then I've also, because I don't believe in a lot of the performative bullshit that I've seen this, you know, with a lot of cats coming out, you know, very, very gimmicky, very clout chasing. I'm gonna one thing about me, y'all, is you're gonna get what you see, what you get. I'm 100. I've always been authentic. I don't do that. So I don't want to just act like I'm the revolutionist. For like, if that's not the energy that I've always given you, I'm not going to just act like that's the energy that I'm giving you now. But I will give you my feelings on things openly. And a couple of people got mad at me because I wasn't using my platform to speak out angry, because I wasn't in the streets rioting, breaking windows, doing things. You're not outraged. Like, how are you so calm? And I would tell them, I'm not calm, brother. What I am is, I'm blessed to be in a position where I'm in boardrooms. And unfortunately, I might be the only Black man in the room, but I'm in the room cultivating things for the next creatives to come behind me. I'm talking to brands about how to not come off tone deaf. I'm talking to brands about how to not look performative and how they can actually take their funds to provide resources where they can get actual education. So I might not be in the streets and the front lines like the young homies. I expect them to get out there and do that. But I'm in a different position. I'm in a position to actually amplify and be transformative. So I've been during all of this time, I've been behind the scenes talking to people. Hey, listen, this is what we can really do. This is where you can take funds. When I'm talking to brands, listen, this is how you can really amplify Black voices. Don't come to me 5 days before Black History Month talking about you want to work with Troy Brooks on a campaign, because I already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I already know what time it is. And then I throw the fuck you fee on. I throw the fuck you fee on. You might pay another $10,000 on top of whatever the budget was just to work with me because of that, because I know what time it is. And I know when these brands are being performative. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So that's kind of been my stance during all these times, is how to uplift. And I've also used my platform to show the Black joy that, hey, listen, don't feel bad for me, because despite the odds that have been stacked up against me, the statistics that I wouldn't make it to be 25, I grew up in a single family parent household. I come from this world. Don't ever feel sorry for me, because I made it and then some, and I'm busting the door open for everybody to come behind me. You feel me?
Yes.
So during a time when they expected us to be, oh, woe is me. Now, you wasn't getting that from Troy Brooks. You was getting, look at this beautiful Black family living in Westchester who almost made $400,000 last year netted, living where they don't want us to live, living right next to them. In the hood, I'm good. Everybody look like me. I'm living right next to this one. Like, what is this Black family doing here? How did they get here? living right next to us? Living right next to us? You damn right.
It sounds
taking up space.
Yeah, it sounds like your version of revolution is like how you started. My energy. You hear, you see me, you feel my energy even before I open my mouth. It's like that's your way of protesting, is just to have Black excellence, as I see Diddy say. You know, it's like your way of activism is not necessarily protesting with signs, or even necessarily pointing out what everyone's doing wrong. You're just being excellent.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you look at my platform, you know, on social media, and I keep referencing that just because that's how I make a large percentage of my money as a creative, when I created the channel was never going to be I'm just a fitness wellness guy, because there's multiple layers to who I am. I'm a dynamic individual, and as a Black man, I'm a dynamic individual. I think the Black experience, like Blackness is a multitude of so many things. If you take every color and you put it together, what do you get? You get Black. Our culture is a multitude of so many things. So my Black experience might not be your Black experience. Your Black experience might not be this person's Black experience, because the Black experience is a multitude of things. It is everything. It is the all-encompassing thing. And I don't say that disrespectfully to downplay anyone, but it is what it is. Our culture is currency. My energy is currency. When I work with these brands, you're not just paying me for my engagement and the traffic I can, in the KPIs, you're paying me for the fact that if I can die for the color of my skin, I can make money for it. Because I understand the culture. I understand that you can't pay me in cool because I'm cool. We just cool, effortlessly cool.
Yes.
We the sauce.
We're the sauce.
The fucking sauce.
And the main dish. Let's just be
So how dare I worry and self-pity and downplay when I'm standing on the shoulders of my ancestors. I say it all the time. I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams, fam. I got fucking coffered ceilings in my crib. You understand what I'm doing? You understand?
Yes.
I got crown moldings. I can sprain my neck 30 feet. My shit 30 feet right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play small. I didn't get here playing small.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about that, and I remember you sort of told us a little bit about your accomplishments as a part of the introduction at Lululemon, and you have some insane accomplishments. do you want to share a little bit?
Man, I was a celebrity personal assistant for singer-songwriter Maxwell. I've traveled to 5 of the 7 continents of the world, kayaked in the Aegean Sea. I remember working with Maxwell, and I think 2 weeks before I got the gig to be his assistant, I was listening to the new album, Black Midnight Summer, and I was listening to it in my house. 3 weeks later, I was at the White House watching him sound check for performance, right? And sorry, y'all, my ring light just came off, but I'm still looking really immaculate right now. You know what I'm saying? And that was that for me. That was the catalyst. That was the holy shit, man. That there's nothing that I can't do. That my potential is there's no ceiling. We can be our biggest cheerleaders or we can be our worst adversaries. It's here, right? Being blessed, and I think I'm very blessed. And I usually say, when you're blessed, you don't have to state it verbally. Mm-hmm. You just your energy will speak for you, right? But these days, I've actually kind of took that back and said, nah, man, when you're blessed, you have to choose to be blessed. Do you have the mindset to be blessed? Mm-hmm. Is really what it's at now. And I feel like I haven't come this far just because of, not only God's grace, but it's a daily manifestation of self-love and preservation, and feeling like, nah, man, I deserve this. Not just because I say I deserve this, but because my energy says I deserve this, because of what I do in the world says I deserve this, because I don't want to be inspirational. I want to be transformative, and I have. I'm a servant. No matter what I am, I'm always going to be a servant. As a father, I'm a servant. As a husband, I am a servant. My wife will tell you I show up as a servant, always. I'm a vessel. I know I just go off on these tangents because I'm passionate.
Yeah,
really passionate. Going. I'm really passionate. And yeah, man, so I've done a lot of amazing things. I've traveled to so many amazing places and all these different things. They're just ways to implement things into your mental tool belt. And I think that is the biggest form of education that you can ever have, is traveling and being worldly and mixing and matching with other people's energy and feeling cultures and being absorbed by many different cultures. That's how you truly learn who you are. You want to learn who you are? Don't just pick up a book, travel. Mm-hmm. Travel. And if you can travel by yourself. Mm-hmm. Sit with yourself, sit with your thoughts. That's what COVID did for us. We had to sit with ourselves. Some people came out like on top. For others, that shit broke them. I'm empathetic, but can you sit with yourself? And when you do, and when you look at that man or that woman in the mirror, what are you saying to yourself? What are you speaking to yourself? It's important.
It goes back to the resiliency that you touched on, and that's one of your greatest blessings is your resiliency, and that comes from a lot of different things, right? I mean, resiliency isn't just given, right? It comes from experience.
Yeah.
And that's perhaps why in this uncomfortable paradigm where white supremacy reigns, many people find themselves on a fragile end, right? Many white-bodied people find themselves on a fragile end and unable to deal with even the weight of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it all comes back to resiliency.
We're such as people of color, man. We're so forgiving. We're so forgiving. And I say that to say that, you know, it takes a lot. I don't know where I saw this quote the other day. I think I heard Jay-Z say that to know you and to know that I can destroy you, but I don't, take some fucking discipline, right? And I say that to say that I've been put in positions with people specifically where it's like, I can destroy you right now. I can verbally destroy you. I can physically destroy you. I can destroy you right now, but I won't. And for me, that's because we're so forgiving, and because I'm just trying to go to a higher place. I'm growing. I'm evolving. I have too much to lose. You feel me? And you know, I think we're in this shift right now where shit's been getting hot. Last 4 years have been a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? A certain person was in office and, you know, recently, and, you know, people were fucking bold and jumping out and being bold and being racist and doing all kind of things. And some, you know, some people that have not evolved to the places I'm trying to go have put some people in their places. We've seen it on the internet, but we're growing, we're evolving, we're getting our finances together. We have resources in the internet to create generational wealth in ways that we've never been able to do. We've been able to tap into finance and to allocate certain resources that were never offered to us before. It's a beautiful thing to see. You know, I moved to Georgia where 20% of the population are entrepreneurs. Another reason I wanted to come here. I moved here because there's more Black wealth here than anywhere. I live in a really beautiful subdivision, beautiful homes. There's so many Black people here who are thriving. Beautiful Black families mixed in. Beautiful Black families. New family just moved across the street. Asian family from Flushing, Queens.
No way.
Love them. Can't promise you, swear to God. Right next to me, another Asian family from Vancouver. Black, Spanish on my block. And if I show you my block, shit look like something straight out of, like, I don't know, Leave It to Beaver. Crazy. But there's diversity, and there's so many people of color who are coming here and thriving. And I say all that to say that we are thriving. A lot of us are getting the education that we want to become, like I said, financially stable. Before this meeting with you, me and my wife were right here. She had my newborn. We were just on a call with our financial advisor, going over our 529A funds for our babies, making sure things were high and tight with our life insurance policy, readjusting things in our will so that we leave our family better off. You feel me? You talk about, you got Prince, you got so many people that were millionaires that didn't leave wills, so their affairs weren't in order. And when we talk about creating real generational wealth, your affairs got to be in order. You feel me? That's real generational wealth. Is when I leave here, you got a clean slate, you don't have debt, and you have a little something extra to keep it going. I'm focused on that, man. There's always going to be some bullshit, but the course is the course. How do I make mine better? How do I be transformative to help other people get their situation so that we can all do better? The better we do, the more resources we have, the more money we have, the way we support each other, the way we show up to support each other's businesses. If we invest, if we change the mentality of going out and bowling out of control and going to brunch every day because shit's lit, and start taking our money and investing our money or putting our money in the right funds, we're gonna take it to the next level, man. And that's what I'm here to do.
I love
is
that.
Yeah.
We talked about this with Cassandra Lamb, who's an amazing friend of ours, just a beautiful, powerful activist. And she spoke about the ways that we protest, and Laura touched on this earlier, but that it goes beyond it just existing, right? It's like, how do we take the opportunities that we have and give them to our children? How do we take the opportunities that our parents didn't have, so that we jump, we take a quantum leap, right? So that history doesn't continue to repeat itself, and we look at the stories that were sold in TV and in movies and in music that says that we are to look one way, and that Blackness looks this one single picture, right? And we give it the middle finger, and we jump ahead of it.
Yeah, damn right we do. Can we give it two? Can we throw two at it?
Two.
You know what I mean? And then backflip over that shit. No, absolutely. We damn sure do. And I encourage listeners too, because I don't know if anyone's ever dealt with this, but we are not our parents. Our parents' shortcomings are not our shortcomings. Our parents' fears that they sometimes project on us because they just want us to be in a safe position, those things are not our fears. I remember when I decided to be a trainer, and this is years ago, my mom was like, "You sure you want to do that? You can come work for me. You can have this 401k, you can have this pension, you can have blah, 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 blah." And my mentality at the time was like, I couldn't. Huh? I was being a thing. You were? Yeah. Sage, I'm in the middle of an interview, okay? So you got to go back upstairs to mama, but just say hello. Who's that? Okay? Who's that? That's Miss Brittany and Miss Laura.
Hi.
Can you say hello? Blow them a kiss. Okay, give me a kiss. You got to go, okay? Go to mama. Go to mama. So, yeah, and that's what it's all about. That's who I do it for. That's how I wake up, air in my lungs, 10 toes on the ground every day, giving it everything that I have with no resentment every day. Every day I wake up and I give it everything I have for my family. What I was saying was basically, when my mom, she was just trying to help me, but at that time, I couldn't take her advice as anything less than not believing, right? And not believing in me. And I said, I'm going to show her. And, to the point where now my mom is my biggest fan, right? When I was, on shape.com or Men's Health Top Trainer in New York City, or when I won Best Instructor in New York City 2019 via ClassPass and was featured on ABC, like who's showing the newspaper and everything to everyone, it was my mom, right? So I say that to say that sometimes they come around. So to any listeners right now that, your family wants you to do something traditionally because that's what they did, fuck that, man. You got to live your life. Yeah. I want you to step out on your purpose and carve your lane, because we have more resources and more access than our parents ever did. Mm-hmm. And we're supposed to be putting in that work now so that our children can do the same exact thing.
I wanted to ask you a question going back to when you are in the boardroom and maybe you're the only Black man or person of color in the room, you're consulting with them and guiding them on how to open the door for more Black faces, Black voices, or people of color. I, like Brittany and I, have been kind of going through this whole thing where I came from corporate America. I used to work in private equity. And I'm just so disillusioned and so resentful of that whole system that sometimes I'm just like, fuck them. It's like, just pay us. Like, money is money. Like, just pay people of color. But then at the same time, it's like, you do have, if we have an invitation at the boardroom, in the board table, whatever, how do you reconcile that sometimes? Sometimes, like, you want to speak up and be like, this is fucked up, just pay us. And then other times you have to play the game, right? So that you are at least there.
Fuck that.
Yes.
No, seriously, fuck that. This goes back to, I'm not here to play the game. Mm-hmm. Not here to play the game. This is a new playing field. This is a new space. We're creating the rules, specifically as creatives in the influencer market, which is what I'm in. I'm 39. I'm not an influencer. I'm a digital content creator, and I invest thousands and thousands of dollars into my production, into creating my following. I spent so much money to create the kind of content that I create. This is a business. This is a business. I'm an LLC. I'm a whole business. When I show up and I consult or I speak to these people, you're going to pay us. You're not paying us. You're paying us for our worth, man. You're paying us for our value. And like I said, you're paying us for our culture. And this isn't just, I'm not just an advocate for Black people. I'm an advocate for all people, Indigenous people, Asian people, LGBTQ community people, and all people, humans. You got a fucking pulse. It's about equity, equitable equity all across the board. And these brands, they got it, man. They got it. It's about putting yourself in a position where every day, and thank God there's lessons that I learned that, a lot of these kids won't learn. I learned lessons from, like I said, I didn't have a father growing up, but when I was in the streets, I had OGs. I had dudes that were doing street shit that was, trying to make sure that I was on the right path, not going down the same route that they told me. And I'm not going to say the individual's name because we don't do that. But the individual that I'm speaking about, I'll never forget the quote. The quote was, "Every dollar is not a good dollar," right? So with that being said, Laura, if I go into a boardroom, I'm not going to sell myself for paper, but I'm going to put myself in a position where I boldly ask for what I deserve. And if it don't make sense, it don't make sense, but at least I asked, right? And then there's things where I walked away from. I walked away from $30,000 last year for one campaign that probably would have cost me, it probably would have cost me 2 hours, but it didn't align with me morally. I'm very big on when I get up in the morning, feet on the floor, air in my lungs, do my little stretch. Thank you for letting me live to see another day. Same routine every day. Go out, make a hard right, bust a left, go into my bathroom. I look in the sink before I brush my teeth. Okay, do I feel good about the dude I'm looking at right now? How we feeling today? You good? We gonna crush this shit? Let's get it. I have to have that same energy every day. If I don't have that energy, something's off. Something's not aligned. Mm-hmm. And nine times out of 10, when you're dealing with business in your boardrooms, that could be the decision. It could be because you did something that isn't aligned with you. So for me, it's not always about money, but when you step in these boardrooms, we're not playing games. This isn't a game. You're gonna respect me as a business, specifically if I'm consulting for you. And, there's always gonna be a budget. And, I try to make sure that if I'm speaking, like I was speaking to someone that I consult for yesterday, an influencer who happens to be a person, a person of color. And we were speaking about media spend and the budget that the company had, as well as her trying to get 10% of the media spend because they wanted to do what's whitelisting. They wanted to whitelist her content, meaning they wanted to put advertisement dollars behind her content to be pushed out a little bit more. This way they're getting their money's worth. They make sure that they're getting their projected numbers on the post that she was creating for the brand. And I said, hey, listen, where's your engagement again? She said, my engagement's here. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You could ask for it, but you're probably not gonna get it. Your engagement's not high enough. And unfortunately for you, you don't have leverage on that, right? Metrics, this brand is focused on metrics. But let me tell you where you do got leverage. Culture, diversity, the amazing content that you're creating for this brand. All of that is leverage. So tell them that, and if they don't get it, fuck them. Peace out on them. Because it can't always be about numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's weird because we're in this place where it's like, I'm on a tightrope, man. I also don't want to just be paid more money because I'm Black. I want to be paid more money because I'm fucking dope. And because what I bring to the table just adds value, period. It's like a tightrope. It all depends, and that's just me being authentic about it.
Yeah.
Troy, I want to take a hard left and ask you a different question. So in the fitness world, there is a fair amount of toxic masculinity in the world at large, right? Let's just be really real. I want you to comment on that and your experience with that, and if you think it's changing or evolving, and maybe what we need to do to shift that.
It's whack. Thank God. I am again a product of strong women. call me crazy. I feel more comfortable in a room full of women. I feel like we can have less surface-based conversations. I feel like we can have better dialogue. I think y'all are just, let's be real here. Women hold up 75% of the sun, right? So with that being said, I always felt like I can just have more relatable, mature conversations with a lot of my female friends, more than I can have with my male friends, because once you would open up and try to be vulnerable, here come the jokes. You know what I mean? But a lot of that is shifted. It's shifted. I go above and beyond to be empathetic and open with my friends, to be vulnerable with my feelings, my emotions. Anyone that knows me knows I am super, 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 super emotionally aware and in tune. I used to say that I was very, very emotional. But I think with maturity, I just become passionate. And I think passion is emotion with direction. If that makes any sense to you. There's a difference, because you can just be emotional and erratic, right? But I choose to be more passionate because, again, it's emotion. I give a shit. I care about things, but it's well curated and there's direction there. And when it comes to interactions with men, man, I created a group for Lululemon called the 6 for 6. So I took 6 dudes, NFL player, a couple ball players, and a couple other people, and I had them do yoga with me and breath work. Now we're talking about like literally a NFL wide receiver doing yoga and breath work, and going. Then I took them all to the Roxy, to the Django downstairs, the jazz club, and we listened to jazz and we had cocktails, and we would have open dialogue about just life, man. And I opened up about our infertility and me having varicose veins in my testicles, and how the doctors were like, I'm gonna have to do about $30,000 worth of surgery in order to get my wife pregnant. And I was crying. I'm a big crier, and everybody knows that. I love crying, and I feel great after I cry, and I encourage everyone to get a good cry. And I remember opening up about that, and it was an amazing experience, because at that time I could just see the layers. I could see the armor falling off of these men. And then, what happened in that space was a safe space, but we were able to create a space where we were open and all vulnerable. At the end of the night, we're in a damn jazz club, bunch of dudes crying, and hugging it out. And on my platform on Instagram, I mean, everyone knows I'm just an open book. What you see is what you get. Long story short, though, to tie back, 2 kids, no surgery, first baby, a little bit of weed, a little bit of rum punch, and a trip to Jamaica. And that's how that shit worked out. Okay.
The magic sauce.
And the magic sauce. Just another reason. You know what I mean? When I talk about like, yo, I can't be stopped. Like, I walk in faith with God. The big homie got me. Like, that's just how I show up. So, and that was the first baby. And then, we got Phoenix. So that was Sage. And now we got Phoenix, same way. Natural, home birth. And yeah, man. So, vulnerability is important. I think men are being more open than ever. I think we are making more headway than ever. Shout out to a lot of the other organizations that are out there. Shout out to there's this dude on Instagram. His name is I forgot his name, Jason something, but his book is called Cry Like a Man. I follow this dude. I love it because he's cultivating that in his sons and his boys. And like, I love my boys. I kiss my son on the lips. I hug him. I play with him. I tuck him in at night. I sing songs. I won't stop. That's my baby. That's my sweet baby. I'm not gonna raise him with that toxic male ego of, you have to do this. Like, he's got a baby doll. You know why he has a baby doll? It shows that boys that have baby dolls grow up to be more nurturing. Like, there's scientific study. We don't gender specific toys and things like that. We don't do that. That would only be setting my son up for failure. And I'm here to raise a decent, open, beautiful, kind, loving, compassionate human being. I was on a podcast called Off the Strength for my boys, and I'm not doing it anymore, but had a whole episode about toxic masculinity. And when you come from the hood, the term sweet would be, you're sweet, meaning you're vulnerable, you're soft, you know what I mean? Like, you're Like someone can get over on you almost like, yo, but sweet is not that, man. Sweet is great. Like, who doesn't want to be sweet? Who doesn't want to be a sweetheart?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be a kind person?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when I tell you that physically, right? Been in situations where I can physically dismantle the person. I don't operate from that place.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown past that. I operate from love and empathy. And in the trajectory of my growth is I'd rather love on people that are broken.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather love on people that project their fears on me. I'd rather love on people who smile on my face but talk behind my back. I'd rather love on all the people that I can love on, to the point where if someone questions my name, you look at them crazy.
Yeah.
If someone throws dirt on my name or talks about me, you almost look at them crazy because of the love that you've experienced in my presence.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're shifting that
You're
paradigm, man.
Pisces. You
You're so
cry because you're
inspirational.
Pisces.
I'm Pisces. I'm Pisces.
Same.
I'm
I'm also
Pisces. I'm
Pisces.
Pisces. I'm fire too. I'm fire. Even though we're water sign, I'm fire. I'm spicy.
Very spicy.
You're Pisces, Brittany?
Mm-hmm.
February 27th. All the feelings. Lori gets the brunt of my feelings every day.
Yeah.
I think also the fact that you shared, you can be as vulnerable as somebody else showing their vulnerability first. I think it takes somebody seeing the vulnerability for you to open up. So I think what you're doing is just so, it's like you're changing the world, just being you and being vulnerable. And it's just so wonderful for young Black men to see someone like you, who's not a football player, who's not a rapper, somebody who's in his feelings and can be vulnerable like that. Like, what a beautiful role model you are.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. We're trying to do that. We're trying to, once COVID's over, I'd like to put together more speaking engagements. And I've actually spoke to Lulu about, shout out to Dana Boylan. And we've been speaking a lot about how I can do, she's a life force. I love her.
Yes.
We've been speaking about how we can, how I can do more stuff for Lulu on basically like maybe teaching these other ambassadors how to be content creators and how to monetize their platforms and, diversify their portfolios within the space of wellness, because it's $1 billion industry. You don't have to just physically train and move your body anymore. I don't train anymore. I've retired training. Once I moved here, I'm done. I don't physically train anymore, but I consult, I coach coaches, I work with businesses, I consult for businesses. Me doing that alone is my way of showing other trainers, hey, you can do this if you want to. If you want to be a 50-year-old bar instructor, yoga instructor, personal trainer, group fitness instructor, cool, do that. As long as it's a choice. You shouldn't have to be 50 moving your body if you don't want to. We're in $1 billion industry. There's no, there's no ceilings here. You can do as much as you want to do. And I say that to say that once the world kind of really opens up, COVID is a real thing, and I take it very seriously. And I always try to be as responsible and decent as possible. I'm not going to get into the whole, are you vax, not vax? Just be a decent human being. Wear a mask in public. And
I love that.
Right, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And so I'd like to have Black firemen. I'd like to have home builders, construction people. I'd like to have people who have trades. I'd like to have spin instructors. I'd like to have other people of color come out and speak at schools, or just have like almost a job show where it's like, how many kids out there that don't know they can make almost $200,000 to $500,000 a year being a spin instructor, right? Cycling. Like, what you mean I can make that much money riding a bike?
Yeah.
You can. You know what I mean? Like, seriously,
Yeah.
like, I spoke, I was a guest lecturer at Manhattan College a couple months
I
back.
went there.
Yeah. So my mom graduated from there too.
Oh my God.
And that was another like proud mom moment. Like, my son spoke at my school to the grad, I spoke to some business students about how I didn't graduate from college. I had a 4.0 GPA. I went to Berkeley. I dropped out. I don't have the debt, and I make more money than all of my friends that graduated from school. And now I'm talking to y'all, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." But let me tell you what you can do, and let me tell you how you can take what you've done and how you can what you can do with it. There's endless possibilities. And yeah, man. So I'm just excited about life, man.
It's contagious.
I'm excited about life,
I
man.
feel like
I'm
I'm getting
excited.
a life coaching session
Right?
from you. You're just
That's what this was.
you're
Yo,
so
listen.
expansive. You don't see limitations. So like even asking you about your thoughts on decolonization, I feel like I already know your answer, you know?
Yeah, give me your answer. I'd like to hear your answer. Tell me your tell me
Well,
your
well, I
tell me
guess
your answer.
this whole podcast is about doing the work to
Mm-hmm.
decolonize spirituality and wellness for a more
Mm-hmm.
equitable future. And this is to bring
Mm-hmm.
awareness into the harm placed on people of color. But I feel like your answer is just to be excellent and just go into a boardroom, ask for what you want, be in your energy, do your thing. You can do it.
Woo! You got me. But let's unpack it. Let's go a little bit further. Not just a boardroom, man. Go into your studio and demand that shit, right? Like studios are back open again, right? If you're packing out the room, demand more from the studio owner. Why the fuck not? If you have consistency in your classes and people are coming to your classes all the time for you, you have leverage, right? Why not in the space of wellness? We need that. Also, if you're killing it in the fitness and wellness space and you're not an independent contractor and you're working at one of these boutique studios or gyms that, you know what I mean? Why don't you demand equity in the business?
Mhm.
Why not have this brand show that they're serious about you by giving you a piece of the company? Apple does it. I
Mhm.
worked for Apple. I worked for Apple from 2008 to 2011, like while training still. And you know, there was an employee stock purchase program, and you know, there were options. There were things that you were able to do. And I feel like this is one of the only spaces where you look at the contracts; they're one-sided.
Mhm.
There's non-competes. There's NDAs for all kind of crazy shit. You got some of the best fitness professionals in the city who know nothing about indemnification clauses. They know nothing about perpetual rights. They sign away their life to these companies.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, you could be the best trainer. You could be NASM certified, NSCA, AAC, blah, 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 ABD, CGG, fucking all of the things. But you know nothing about business
Yeah, having literacy.
because we're not taught business. We're not taught financial literacy. We're not taught how to be smarter business people. People spend so much time being great coaches and having that hat on, and they forget the other hat.
Mhm.
And in this business where we don't even have 401ks or 403bs, you know how many trainers barely have fucking health insurance, man?
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding?
You feel me?
Yeah.
You could live in this cool apartment in Brooklyn or Manhattan. You went to Trader Joe's, you're eating peanut butter and jelly every day. When you go to the fucking Whole Foods salad bar, you feel like you're balling. That ain't no life, man.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen far, far, far
It's still
too many
happening.
times. It's still, yeah, and we have to change it.
Mhm.
We have to change it. The wellness space needs a rebrand
Mhm.
all across the board.
And
And
lawyers that don't take huge fees,
yeah,
that can help
yeah,
people, like
yeah.
it's like,
I got one, man. If you need one, I got one. Just so you know, I got one.
okay,
I've been trying to. She's an entertainment lawyer, and I've been trying to tell her that she's leaving money on the table in the wellness space, but she can do something that she wakes up the next day and feels really good about. If she would just get into the wellness space, you could make that. You can get the bag, but you could also feel good about the bag you're getting if you get into this space. And that I know so many people that could benefit from her services. So I've been
you should
trying to
leave
tell
her
her. I've been
information.
trying to tell her.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's dope. She's dope, and she's a good person. And yeah, I hope I'm gonna make sure that she listens to this podcast, by the way. So you
Yes.
know, but yeah, Laura, you were definitely right on where I stand on decolonization. So yeah, again, I think that's just that aura. And they say association breeds similarity. So when you're around like-minded people, you gravitate and you kind of just get it. You know,
Yeah,
the vibes are real.
that's what I've been telling Brittany this whole time, is we are the product of the people we surround ourselves with. So if you surround yourself with people who are like, we can't do it, and like, that's what you're gonna
Wait, I'm
get.
sorry. Wait, time out. How did they say that again?
We can't do it. I'm just like, no, we gotta surround ourselves with people who are getting after it, who are just doing it and not
Yeah,
waiting.
yeah,
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. You damn
100%.
right.
And
Listen,
you're
man, we
one of
all
those people.
I'm trying. I keep it a whole 100 with people, man. COVID was crazy for me. You know, I mean, I was seeing a therapist before. I saw my therapist a little bit more through COVID virtually. Then I stopped seeing him because his times didn't align. Then I gained 20 pounds during COVID, but now I'm losing the weight. Like we go through so much shit, man. We go through so much shit, and I can complain, but who fucking cares? No one's going. Everyone's got their own shit going on.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, show up, be grateful, find the silver lining. Right? Operate from a place of gratitude and just make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And because your card's gonna get punched, man. You know, and I don't want to be the dreary guy, but like we're living, but we're dying, right? Like it don't go up. You don't turn 40, 39, 38, like it goes up until your card is punched. We gotta live.
Yeah.
We gotta live. If not now, when, fam?
Yes. Well, we want to be mindful of your time. So the last question will be, what is your message for the world? I feel like your whole episode was the message for the world.
Yep.
Yeah. My message for the world. We gotta really normalize being decent, man. You know, everybody wants to be great and excellent and above average, but if we had more decent people in the world, I think we'd be in a far better place. I think decency is underappreciated. Being a decent, solid human being goes a long way. And if we can all just operate from a place of decency, that means sometimes things that don't necessarily serve you, right? They don't serve your political agendas. They don't serve your health-based agendas or your scientific beliefs, but you do the right thing because you know deep down inside that those things are the right things to do. I wish that we had more integral people, more people that focused on character and merit than they did on, and this might sound crazy coming from me, a creative, but social media presence, likes, following, being in all the shit that's going on in the world, being a decent person at your core. And I say that to say that I wouldn't be as far as I am in my career with all of that stuff if I didn't have values and if I didn't prioritize being a decent person at my core. So I think people just need to focus on being, if you could be a good person, a great person, awesome. And if you could find that rhythm where you stay consistently a great person, awesome. But at bare minimum, being decent is still above being racist, being a shithead, being selfish. Every negative connotation, everything that you can think of that's negative falls below being decent. Decency is still on the higher end of a good vibration. So I just want people to at bare minimum be decent. I think we'd be in such a better place if we had more decent humans walking around.
Yes.
I agree 100%. Decent as the baseline.
Yeah, man. Please, prerequisite, decency. You feel me?
Yes.
You come in the room, just be decent. You come in a place, be decent. Like decency, man. Like it's not a lot.
The bars are really low.
No, it's kind of low. The bar's low. Like decent, like gotta normalize being decent, man, because shit's fucked.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? And if we can get people to decency, right? I think like decency is like a C.
Then the
like a
sky's the
C.
limit
It's
after
like a C.
that.
Yo, listen to me. You never know where you can go when you find out you're decent, right? Like you woke up like, well, I could actually do this.
Yeah.
I'm not as bad as I thought I was.
Yeah.
The world opens up for you.
Well, thank you so much, Troy. Your energy is infectious. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your time.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for sharing this space with me. And thank you for giving me your platform to just kick it with y'all and, amplify my voice to those that need to hear it, man.